last Wednesday was the beginning of the Lenten season. Some of you may have grown up with that tradition. Some may still honor it. And those are the 40 days, of course, leading up to Easter. And the Lenten season is historically about fasting. And so in New Thought, we love to fast too. We love to fast from negativity. We love to fast from gossip. We love to fast from criticism and judgment. We love to fast from bad-mouthing. We love to fast from criticizing ourselves or others. And that's how I love honoring a time that other people are looking to see what can we do to prepare ourselves for the beautiful resurrection experience. Because we're all in the process, each one in our own way, of resurrecting the true, authentic self within us, which is divine. And so any of these wonderful practices can assist in moving us to those places. As you know, the month of March, from the Centers for Spiritual Living theme, is be truthful in facts and motives. The value for the month is integrity, and today is about truth with kindness. We want to speak our truth. We must speak our truth. When we don't speak our truth, we get all kind of tied up inside. And we have challenges because we're not being true to ourselves. We're not really acknowledging who we are and what's going on. And so we make things up and we play nice. Anybody ever just play nice? Because you don't want to hurt somebody's feelings, or you don't want them to be mad at you, or perhaps react in some way, revenge, any of those things. Playing nice is good to a point. But risking our own authenticity and stifling who we truly are and what needs to be said is just not good for us. So we want to have our say, and we want to have it with caring and compassion. It's essential to everyone's well-being. I ran across a statement earlier that I just love. It's called kind over matter. You like that? Kind over matter. And what does it matter? It matters to be kind, of course. It isn't always easy because we're human as well as divine. Did I mention that to you? And we have feelings. Did you notice? And we have reactions. And we're always in the process of learning how to mitigate those things so that we can stop, breathe, take a beat, and then respond differently than we may have reacted. But it's important for us to say our truth. It's important for us to say it as gently as we can. And yet clearly, when I was taking CPE, which is clinical pastoral education, at a local hospital, not local here, it was in California, and it's something that some ministers do in order to really develop our pastoral skills and to be able to go into hospital settings and to bring presence, the presence of love, and also to really be helpful to people in a clinical setting, whether it's the regular hospital beds or the psychiatric wards, and we got to work in all of them, and it was wonderful. And my first evaluation by my supervisor was something like, Maxine brings a presence of love into the rooms when she's working with the patients. But she still needs to learn how to say those hard sayings. And the hard sayings can be something about, well, are you watching your insulin? My last evaluation before I left there was, Maxine still brings the presence of love into the room. However, now there's an added book to the books of the Joy series, you know. So this one is now going to be called the Joy of Confrontation. You know how we love confrontation, right? No, we don't. We don't want to do that. Like, oh, that's nice, everything's fine. That's just exactly what I wanted the walls to be painted. Oh, it's pretty. Instead of having an agreement ahead of time. But we're learning. Oh, please let's be gentle with ourselves as we're learning to speak our truth that would be helpful, that would be appropriate in certain situations. It's not appropriate to do that everywhere. I don't go walking down the street and say, you know, you could lose a couple pounds. I didn't even say that in a hospital setting. When it's appropriate for us to speak our truth that would be helpful, that's been invited, then we do so, but let's do it as kindly as we possibly can. The joy of confrontation. You know, there's something wonderful about being real. There's something awesome about telling our truth. We want to stand in our truth, and we want to deliver it with consideration. You know, this is something special about women. International Women's Day month. Every day is Women's Day, right? This is a special time, and it's wonderful for us to look back and look at those pioneers who've made a difference, who've been able to stand in their truth and deliver it. They didn't always deliver it compassionately, but it needed to be delivered, and those who were most effective, I think, delivered it with kindness. But look at the amazing, amazing people who have come forth, who have found a way to make a difference in our world. Especially looking back to historically how women really were not honored and they weren't supposed to be speaking up, and that kind of thing. I remember there was a woman in a congregation years ago who married a man that she thought she should be married to, and it was practically right after the honeymoon where she stated an opinion, and he said, "Oh, I got one that speaks up." Oh, yeah. Louder, please. Oh. Yes, you did. I guess so. All right, think of the pioneers. Marie Curie. Susan B. Anthony. Thank you, Susan. I vote as many times as possible in the same election because of Susan. No. Florence Nightingale. Rosa Parks. Talk about delivering her truth with kindness. She didn't get mad at anybody. She was tired. She wanted to sit down. She had a right to sit down. And she was unmoved. And the women and the men and the children who've made a difference in our world have been unmoved and stayed in their truth and didn't necessarily spew hatred, but just said, this is right. This is the right thing. And ultimately, everybody realized that's true. Mother Teresa. And she didn't say, oh, you've got to do great things like I do. She didn't even consider that what she did was particularly remarkable. She just did what was appropriate and wonderful, and she was spirit-led to do. And she said, you don't have to do great things. Just do small things with great love. Small things with great love. Diane, Princess of Wales. Oprah. We're becoming more current here. These are women who are making an enormous difference in our world. Did they all speak powerful truths with kindness? Well, surely some more than others. We want to be kind to ourselves as well. Are you kind to yourself? Are you loving and grateful and think you're wonderful? That's not about ego. That's about recognizing that we're all made out of the same life, and it's great. It's divine. It's beautiful. It's yours. It's mine. It's everyone's. We need to honor who we are. We begin by recognizing the I am that I am. I want to notice my inner conversation. Do you ever stop and think, oh, I just said something unlovely about myself. You ever notice? Stop. That's a beautiful spiritual practice. Stop and reframe that. You know that your cells in your body, our cells in our bodies respond to our beliefs. This is science. This is not magic. Every cell in our body is being renewed all the time. And it responds to our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, our beliefs. Don't you realize you are recreating your body all the time with your focus? And if you're saying to yourself, oh, I'm like, like the little boy said to me in the market that day, Mommy, what are those stripes on her face? These stripes right here, I love them. Proud of them. Love our bodies, love our minds, love our feelings, tell ourselves the truth about things. I remember giving somebody, it was a class in fact, many years ago. I gave the practice to go home because there were some who were not feeling good about their bodies. And it's like, look it, this is the instrument you have to go around the world in. This is the instrument that was given to you to let the divine express by means of you right here on earth. Love it. So I said, this is your assignment. You get up in the morning, make sure you have no clothes on at all. Go to the mirror. Put your arms around yourself and say, are you ready? Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful me. I love everything that I feel and I see. You're not going to do that? All right then. Here's another one. You know, I don't always hit it. That's okay. I love myself. We had this thing in high school. It is so silly that I have to share it with you. I guess I'm really going to do it. Okay. How did it go? High school's been a couple of years ago, okay? I love myself. I think I'm grand. I go to the show and I hold my hand. I put my arm about my waist and say, you're fresh, and slap my face. There are other ways to love ourselves. I'm just encouraging you to lighten up a little bit and have an opportunity to let yourself know how beautiful you are, how wondrous you are, how unique you are, like no one else on this planet. And this is not about ego. It's about recognizing what we're truly made of. We want healthy results in our lives. And I like to look at what my motives are. When I go into a conversation, when I start a project, I want to know, what's my motive behind this? Is it for the greater good of all? Do I want to awaken people? Do I want to touch hearts? Do I want to heal them? Do I want to open minds? Do I want to start by healing my own heart and opening my own mind? Yes, I do. And so as we're entering into anything, we look to see, what is my intention here? Of course, we want to assist each other on our spiritual path. How do we assist each other on our spiritual path but to live our own truth, to speak our own truth, and to do it as gently and lovingly as we can? When we're in a community like this, we have an opportunity, we have an agreement that we want to lift each other up, right? We want to hold each other when things are hurting. We've lost them recently. We never lose anybody. We just don't see them again for a while. But we see them in our hearts and we hold them there tenderly. And we let other people hold us as we're moving through those things. And when we're awakening to a new idea and we're getting a larger sense of who we are and what we really can do and moving beyond any false limitations or former beliefs and restriction, we can't do this because of not having enough of this or having too much of that. It's wonderful to help each other move through those things. But when we do, let's do it kindly. Like the ketchup thing. Let's do it kindly. You know, there are some communities I hear, at least in the olden days, when someone would say, oh, that's happening in your life? Well, it must be a result of your stinking thinking. Is that loving? I don't think so. I don't want to hear that. Or they'll say, you know, what's in your consciousness? I have never, ever, thank God, thank you all. I've never heard that here in this community. We have evolved. We have only very conscious, evolved people here. We don't ever say that. I've never heard it anyway. We have a greater truth to tell. We want to tell ourselves what's so. We want to be real with our feelings and our emotions and our experiences and help each other move through stuff. But we also, even more importantly, want to tell each other what's beautiful and what's true. You're beautiful, unique expression of divine life. We want to be able to tell each other that. We don't want to hear things like, you should know better. How long have you been in this teaching now? We want to hear things like, look who you are. Let me remind you of how magnificent you are. Look at you. Go and put your around you. Oh, no, never mind. You didn't like that one. Just love yourself as you are right now. In this magnificent moment. Love ourselves. Help other people love themselves. That's revealing a great, great truth. We want to up-level our consciousness. Up your consciousness. You know what I mean? I can remember the teens at camp one year when I went, had T-shirts that said, up your consciousness. You know, that's perfectly good. Where's your mind? We want to help each other, lift each other, love each other, express to each other how beautiful we are. And let's start with ourselves. It's just too often that we put ourselves down, lift ourselves up. And we're here together to do that with each other, aren't we? Doesn't it feel good to do that? Doesn't it feel good to remember who we are, to remember who you are? And if we get a little ketchup on our faces, to have somebody say it to us. Not doing it out loud where we embarrass each other, but where we help each other. We make a difference with each other. We want to stay in our integrity. Our integrity is really wholeness. It's being true to ourselves. Being true to who we truly are. I want to honor each of you, and I want each of you to honor me and to appreciate our journeys. Because the journey that we're taking together involves a whole lot of individual journeys, doesn't it? That we can love and appreciate and support and respect. I don't expect you to be on exactly the same page I am all the time, any more than I am on your same page all the time. But let's keep working toward that. And giving thanks that where I am on my journey is so compatible with where you are on your journey that we can just keep walking together. That we can climb the mountains together. And that here, when we're in this community where we have so many beautiful paths to the divine, and as you know, Reverend Mike and I belong to the Mainline Ministerium. We meet together once a month. We make plans together. We play with each other. We look to see what we can do in the community together, no matter if we're Science of Mind, Muslim, Baptist, Catholic, Jewish. We work together. We love each other. We're the microcosm, creating a greater macrocosm of love, respect, appreciation, and workability. In fact, we're going to have the Mainline Ministerium folks here a week from Tuesday. I'm making lunch for them. They love coming here. And it isn't just because I make good food. It's also because they feel a beautiful, loving, accepting energy when they walk in here. And often, they don't go home right away. This is fine with me. We open our hearts to each other. We care about each other. we walk together in integrity, in compassion, and speaking truth. We tell each other what's needed and wanted in the communities, and we find ways to work together to solve certain problems that happen. So remember that 3-part sieve? And in fact, it was incorporated in our treatment this morning. Before you speak, started with Socrates. I think the Elks or the Lions or some fraternal organization uses it now, which is great. Is it kind? Is it true? Is it necessary? The world would get a lot quieter, don't you think? If we stopped and thought, what I'm about to say, is it kind? Is it true? Is it necessary? We can do that with our internal speak as well. What am I saying? Is it kind to myself, or am I judging someone else? That's the next level of this. This is part 2. This is the advanced level. When we get to not letting the words come out that aren't helpful and kind and loving and true and necessary, but looking at the thoughts and the feelings that we have and changing those. And I love working in that area. It's good spiritual practice. If I begin to judge someone, I love stopping and going, let me find one thing right now that I can love and appreciate about this person. And you know what? I always do. We always can. It is not that difficult, even if it's just like, oh, I like her sweater. Start with something that we can appreciate. Then we can move to the deeper things. It's really necessary when Spirit guides us to speak out. But be sure it's so. Do it with kindness. And I'm going to quote from myself, which I do from time to time, and I think it's just really funny. But I still do it. This is from the pen of the minister that I wrote last week. And I started with a quote from His Holiness, the Dalai Lama. When compassion or warm-heartedness arises in us and shifts our focus away from our own narrow self-interest, it is as if we open an inner door. Compassion reduces our fear, boosts our confidence, and brings us inner strength. God, it's beautiful. So I went on to say, it's when we begin any conversation, meeting, or project with the greatest good in mind for everyone, and the outcome becomes even more than we envisioned it to be. Relationships are always more important than any new document designed or project completed. As we speak clearly and powerfully from our hearts, we do not shy away from the hard sayings, but we speak them softly. Each person's dignity is always valuable and worth remembering, as we share opinions and ideas that may be quite diverse from others. Can you imagine having a conversation with really diverse opinions and sweetly, quietly, or audibly honoring them and letting it be okay that they're different? Being true to ourselves means not hiding from or glossing over significant issues, but bringing them out to the light tenderly, rather than harshly. We're all empowered by the telling of truth with caring and compassion. It's important that we do our part mindfully, still understanding that others may need to work through their own feelings about certain issues, and we hold them in the light as they do. Will you say with me, I speak my truth clearly. I speak my truth with compassion. I choose to be fluent in love. And so, my beloved, beginneth our lesson.